Do have Patricia Beauregard on the call.
Hmm.
It looks like we got Sensei Wadi on the call. We have at least two people named Bisson on the call, so I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Maybe that's my wife.
Okay.
Well,
And
she's
Maybe.
we got superfan Sam Maletsky on the call as well.
Well, a good friend, Sensei Samaletsky.
okay.
Let's rock it out.
All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Punch Kick Joke Chat. Sean's still not here. He's overseas right now, and he's dealing with a family matter that we're all supporting him with, and looking forward to him coming back soon. Thanks for joining in tonight. If you're joining live or on Zoom, YouTube, and you have a question, I'm gonna put a message here. Put your questions here. Right. So if you put it in, don't raise your hand and don't try and get on camera because we're not going to let you. But if you put your questions in the chat, and as long as they're not stupid questions, then we'll ask them of Sensei Bisson for you, and that will be good. If you're watching later on Zoom or sorry, not on Zoom, on YouTube or on some of the other platforms like Spotify, please consider giving us a thumbs up or a like. We don't make any money on this, but we do like the algorithms to keep our podcast high so that the guests get the recognition that they deserve. And tonight I'm here with Sensei Germain Bisson, very, very high-ranking karateka in Chito-Ryu. Um, Ninth Dan, been training his entire life, runs a very successful dojo, has many, many great students. Um, some of the students in our dojo have trained with him. They speak very highly of him. Thank you for coming on the show tonight, Sensei. And we're gonna, oh, sorry. First, I'm gonna introduce my instructors. So I'm here tonight with my teachers, Hanshi Legacy and Sensei Nicholas Suino. We've been training together for, well, with Sensei Legacy, I said that I told him that next year will be my 30th year teaching under his guidance and his direction. And I've been training with him now for 37 years. And Sensei Legacy and I have both been training with Sensei Suino since he got back from Japan, like, I don't know, 32 years ago, 34 years ago, Sensei. I'm not 100% sure, but for a long time, a number of decades, we've all been training together. Um, and I'm really happy that we've been, like everything, we've just been really diligent about this podcast. I'm really proud of what the three of us and Sean Benson have done, just continuing to document prominent karate teachers, martial artists from around the world, their stories and their history. And tonight we're here with Sensei Germain Bisson. And I want to jump out of the gate with a question that's probably for everybody. We're probably going to go around the horn on this. But because you've been in karate for so long, Sensei Bisson, um, what do you think is the most misunderstood thing about karate today? And why do you think it's so misunderstood? Um, that's my question.
Okay, maybe the publicity of all the karate movie and all the karate say thinking about because we're learning karate, we're gonna be able to fight against a couple, let's say 4 or 5 people, or I can break a 5 brick, or I think it's still like that a little bit. So I feel sorry for that because karate-do and all martial arts from Japan, I think the most, especially the one coming from from Budo, it's more like the human side, building the to have a better character to become the best person you can be. So I think it would be that. Still publicity about what's his karate. Maybe it's because of the movie, maybe it's because of the way we're entertained the karate.
But what do you think it is, Sensei, that's misunderstood about it? Is it that you can fight five people? Is it that we gotta jump off a wall to?
Yes, I remember when I start, and still when people they say you say to somebody, I'm a black belt. So you're a black belt. They don't really know what is a black belt, but I think because of the what was before. See, in 1970 when I start, I don't want to say bad thing, but the people who were doing karate, they were like maybe tough people. So the reputation goes like that. And now I think karate, I think we should promote more about the good side of karate and all the martial arts. I think judo, kendo, kyudo, name it.
Thank you so much. Sensei Suino, where do you go with that? What do you think is the most misunderstood thing about karate? Not judo. You have to answer this about karate. Not Iaido. You have to answer it about karate.
Uh,
And why do you think it's so misunderstood today?
yeah, I think I honestly think that us four are probably horrible people to ask this question of, because we're immersed in the martial art of karate, and we just don't have that point of view. So I'm kind of guessing because basically everybody I hang out with is almost everybody I hang out with is a martial artist, and and I think they have a pretty realistic view of what all the martial arts are. So if I'm guessing, I think it's very much what Sensei Bisson said, which is people think of karate as this strange superpower, steeped in mysticism. Maybe we say obscure things, right, that you can't understand. That we can, as you said, Randy, jump off a wall and destroy a crowd with one punch. Um, it is an incredible thing. The things you can do with karate are amazing, but they're not exactly movie stuff. They're a different kind of accomplishment.
Thank you, Sensei. Sensei, Lacey, where do you go with this question? I know you and I have talked about this stuff a lot.
It really is mainly about fighting that people think. At the beginning, that may be your mindset. But as you go along, the martial arts teaches you how not to fight. You realize that, uh, like, you fight a lot of other people, and that sometimes people are better than you and they can hurt you. So then you start to realize that you can hurt other people. It's a little bit like learning how to handle a gun. Once you realize how deadly the martial art is, you don't just pull it out. It's we really over the long time when you do classical karate, we're taught not to fight. We learn how not to fight, how to avoid it, and be gentle as well. It's like when the pendulum swings with a black belt from being kind and um, understanding and level-headed, but if it swings the other way, a true black belt should be able to take care of himself. You know, it's sort of like self-defense. The first thing about self-defense is defense. Right? All of our katas teach us to block first, and etc. Um, yeah, that's basically a. I think we all are on that line that they think it's just all about being able to beat somebody up, but really it's all about being able to help somebody.
I
Interestingly, I'm going to take it in a little bit of a different direction because I think one of the things that's misunderstood about karate today is how effective it actually is to defend yourself. Because I think that a lot of people now compare karate not to movies necessarily, but they look at MMA and they look at these other martial arts and they think, oh, well, karate people spend a lot of time doing these kata things and I don't understand what they are. That can't really help you fight. And they kick and punch the air, and that really can't help you fight. Um, and to your point, Sensei Bisson, when you started, a lot of tough guys, right? Not a lot of kids. I think kids coming into the dojo today, I think it's a blessing. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it's awesome, but I think that creates a misconception about what karate is and how effective it actually can be because they see little kids doing it and they're doing these things and they think, oh, well, and then they look at the UFC and they look at these things.
but I think if I may
Yeah, go ahead,
if I can
Sensei.
say, the general public, that when you're talking about UFC, MMA, we're talking people who knows about martial arts. But if you look at the people outside the martial art family, they don't really know what it is, UFC or
Right.
so they think about kicking, punching, and still in my region, still sometimes they say, "How can you fight four people? Did you fight against that person?" So I don't think. But inside the martial arts, now we start to do that. We start to say, which martial art is the best? MMA, MMA because they say there's no rules. WKF style kumite. They said, especially at the last at the Olympics, they say the guy he was knocked down and he become the world champion. It's because we follow rules. So people internal inside of the martial arts families, maybe we do what you just said. But if we talk to the general public, and what I'm really happy of, let's say, sometimes they come to me and they say, can you help us to discipline my kids? So now they're talking more about, they don't know, but the do aspect of karate do. But still, these people, they think that we can beat many people at the same time. That's the general public. But people in the family of martial arts, I think they exactly do what you just said.
Yeah. Um, you know, it's interesting you say that, Bisson Sensei, because when parents bring their kids to my dojo and they say, my kid has discipline problems, can you help them? And I'm like, yes. They have confidence problems, can you help them? Yes. They have attention deficit problem, can you help with them? Yes. They're not in good physical condition, can you help? Yes. And they're like, how are you going to do this? I always say, I'm going to teach them how to fight. Because when they learn how to fight, they get compassionate or they get braver and they get in better shape. But all of that stuff for me comes through the classical element of learning how to defend yourself for real, not right. And sadly, I think present company excluded because I know Bisson Sensei that you're a tenacious fighter and you love kumite and you did it at a really high level. Um, but sadly, I think a lot of places just don't do kumite as much as they should anymore. They spend a lot of time doing other things. And I think that's a reason why people start to form these opinions about karate. Because it's not the real karate that they're seeing. They're seeing some movie karate,
Yeah.
some make-believe karate. They're not seeing actually real karate being done.
You just said to me before that we were on the show. It's we are guys were talking together.
Yes.
What is real karate? So when we say real karate, for you, like you express, I can see in your face a lot of passion about fighting. But what kind of fighting? What kind of fighting? So fighting means we're gonna have some rules. So if we put rules, now we're gonna train towards because of these rules. See, a guy like Rafael Agayev was a superstar at WKF, World Karate Federation. They were saying Rafael Agayev is not really a good. It's only a tag game. He went to karate combat. He became the champion because he adapt like this. He was a super elite athlete. So a super elite athlete can adapt to the rules easily. So what is real karate? I think in real karate, if you teach people at 5 years old, you're going to educate them. You're going to teach them some morality. If it's 80 something years old, it's going to be about health. So what is the real karate? It depends of the goal of the person, I think.
I agree with that 100%. Anybody else want to chime in on any of that before
I
I do?
do.
Okay, Sensei, go ahead.
Okay. Real the real karate, it was originally Shorin-ryu. Shorin-ryu is a street level martial art. It's not a dojo martial art. That started after it moved out of Okinawa. The Shorin-ryu martial art, they killed people with it, buried them on a beach and left them there. So um, that's why they started, when they teach it, they have to have certain rules so that people don't actually harm each other. But um, when people come to take it for self-defense to defend their families and stuff, they have to be taught what to do to be able to defend themselves.
Mhm.
Somebody pulls a knife on you and you're uptown with your family. What are you going to do? Start obeying the rules? I don't agree with that. I think you're going to have to disperse. If it's a group of people, say 3 people are attacking you, you can't just knock a guy down. He'll get up, he'll be twice as pissed off as he was the first time. So you have to take them out right away in order. Because I've been in a couple of those situations, and that is the true karate on the self-defense level. But again, it's you don't go and start fights. If somebody starts a fight with you or puts you in danger or even a neighbor in danger, that a real black belt should be able to defend themselves regardless of most situations. I mean, if a guy has a gun, you don't take karate to a gunfight, right? But there is a certain amount of classical karate jutsu that are taught street level self defense. You have to remember that in the MMA, there's certain things they can't do. You can't groin kick somebody. You can't break his leg. You can't stick your fingers in their eyes. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do in the street, depending on how dangerous the situation is.
Only one correction, Sensei. You can break their legs. You can break their legs. You can break their arms. You can do all of that stuff in MMA. You're
Holy
allowed.
crap.
You're allowed
Okay.
to do that. You're allowed to knee bar them. You're allowed to side kick them in the leg and break their leg.
Yeah, but the thing there is they can stop it by tapping.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
there
why
is
they don't do it.
a safety
This-
mechanism for sure.
This
Yeah.
takes me back to the original question, right? Which is what something people don't understand about karate. I'll venture this. I think a lot of people think karate is something that you do when you're angry, right? That you fight angry. And on all the martial arts that I do that are combative, the longer I do them, the less that's true, right? And I think at a high level, we're fighting calmly with our eyes open. You know, one of the beauties of competition is you can do it with a sense of joy and fun. It's hard, it's competitive, it can be a little scary, but you're not fighting angry. And if you do, usually you're losing. And so that may be a big misconception because you hear people, bar fighters or, just knuckleheads go, I see red, right? And and that's actually the exact opposite of what you want to be really good at karate.
Mm.
I love this conversation. Now we are going to do Sensei Bisson's introduction. So he's one of seven born in Saint Joliet, Quebec. In addition to being a martial artist, he's a husband and a father. He has three sons. They've all been involved in martial arts and all are involved in martial arts. I'm a respecter of education. He has a degree in business admin from the University of Quebec. He started Chito-Ryu Karate. Did you say 1970, Sensei?
73.
73. With Gilbert Kingsbury. He received his Shodan in 1980. He opened his first dojo in 1985 in Gatineau, Quebec. What a hotbed of martial arts that is, eh? Gatineau, Quebec. And in 1987, he decided to make that his career, teaching karate. And that's been his career ever since. A person named Sensei Harvey Brown used to hold summer camps in 1987, 88, and 89. And Sensei Bisson went to those camps, and that's where he met Sensei Higashi and decided to join his association and became one of Higashi Sensei's students. In 2001, he received his fifth Dan and his Shihan title from Soke Chitose, Sakamoto Sensei, Shiogai Sensei, and Tanaka Sensei. This year, Sensei Bisson traveled to Japan and had the opportunity to train with a lot of legends while he was there. Hokama Sensei, Shimabukuro Sensei, Kugizaki Sensei, Tanaka Sensei. Today, Sensei is the chair of the Canadian Chito-Ryu Karate-do Federation. In May 2024, he actually received his ninth dan. So we're using the titles Sensei, but he is also a Hanshi, a ninth dan. He's represented Canada and won at the highest levels in team and individual kumite. Canadian national titles, North American Cup, Pan Am Championships, Spain World Karate Federation Championships, Austria, the Soke Cup. So knows a lot. And in addition to that, he has his NCCP coaching certificate as part of the Charter of Professional Coaches. He's trained and coached. I looked at the list, literally hundreds of karate-do practitioners who have taken part in competitions at the highest provincial, national, and international levels. So when we're talking about karate tonight, this is a person who has good and thoughtful opinions based on his experience, not based on what he's read, based on what he's done in his life. While you were in Japan, Sensei Bisson, I read that you visited Shuri Castle. You went to the Karate Museum. You went to Master Chitose's grave. You went to the 47 Ronin. you went to the Kodokan, you went to Miyamoto Musashi's cave, and I just want you to know that with the exception of Musashi's cave, we've been to all of those places. I've been to all of those places with both of them. And Sensei Legacy and I are going back in May, and we're going to go to all those places again. So we might want to chat with you about going back to the homeland. We were there when you were inducted into the Canadian Black Belt Hall of Fame. Well-deserved accolades for you in doing that. And we're super proud to have you here tonight, Sensei. And thank you so much for coming on the show. Looking forward to getting into this with you tonight.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Thank you. So we always like to start, we start with the one question, but let's just go with, go back to 1973. What was your life like, and what got you into the first dojo, and what was it like when you went in there?
I started 73, but I've done a little bit of judo before because in my region and in Quebec during those days, almost every town had a dojo. So I became a yellow belt at 9 years old, I think. I started karate, maybe because of Bruce Lee's movie and tried to become invincible. But it was first my dad brought me to karate to gain some confidence. He wanted me to have a little bit more confidence. So I started with Sensei Gilbert Kingsbury. It was a dojo where competition was really important. So we were doing maybe kata a couple times a week, but it was more like doing kumite at every class. So during those years, I participated in a lot of tournament. So Sensei Kingsbury passed it to me the passion for competition. So that was the thing. And after that, I become a shodan with in front of Sensei Fernand Cleroux. Is maybe one of the best coach in the Canadian history. So when I was competing, I become part of some teams. He was the coach, so he helped me a lot. So when I started, it was more for the competition, gaining some confidence. In 73, and it was like not too many kids. We had a Saturday morning class for young one, and after when you become 13, 14, now you can join. I can join the senior class, but it was more like for kumite and competition. When
So
I,
what was that like in a dojo that didn't have a lot of kids going to
no,
the sea?
not too many kids, not too many women. It was more like male, and fighting was at every class. I remember Sensei Kingsbury saying, "Okay, we're gonna put our glove and we fight." I still remember that. So, and we participate maybe to 10 to 15 tournament a year. So it was based on that. And in the Ottawa region, since the legacy, he knows that better than me, but Ottawa region was a place with really good fighter, like Georges Sylvain, Harry Villeneuve, Frank Leroux, name it. Luc Maisonneuve became one of the best one. I remember once we were at the summer camp in Guelph, and Sensei Kim saw Luc Maisonneuve fight, and he said, "Yeah, you're a French guy. French guy, normally they're good in kumite." We started to laugh, but it was that was those days. So I started to gain confidence. I developed a passion for sports. So until when I started the dojo, we compete a lot. So we built something around the dojo that competition was important, and more importantly was to get prepared well for tournament.
How big was the dojo, and where were you training, Sensei Bisson? Was it a
Maybe
full-time dojo? Was
no,
it
no, no, no. St. Kingsbury has maybe 35 to 40 at Karate. And the class was quite strict. I don't know if we can say that and that podcast, but see, he was not afraid to, let's say, punch us in the stomach and check our stance. It was those days. So we start maybe 40 and we finish maybe half of the people they quit. But I heard that in the 60s it was way worse. So maybe for us in 73 was not that bad.
but where was the dojo?
It
So
was
was
in
it
It was in Buckingham. So Gatineau is five town we regrouped together. So come from Masson-Angers. It was in Buckingham, 5 minutes from my place.
and
So
was it a
Can I,
commercial dojo, Sensei, or was it like in a church
it
basement?
was it was it was in the school. So we had the place twice a week. So it was a Chito-Ryu Karate. They were affiliated with Shiroka Sensei. So I started in Chito-Ryu, and after that I switched from the Shiroka Sensei's group to maybe with yeah I went with Higashi Sensei, and after that we went to with the Japanese group with Soke Sensei.
So maybe open that up for us a little bit, Sensei Bisson. Like, so what was it about Sensei Higashi that, first impressions of him and then continuing to train with him? What was it about him that you were so enamored with that
Okay,
you wanted
I
to
had,
be with?
I had the chance to participate in summer camp 87, 88, 89. I had the chance to go to Guelph in the same summer. I was participating at the Guelph with the Bogu Kukai and with the Ottawa Chitokai, and I met Higashi Sensei. But I was part of a Luc Maisonneuve organization, so it took me 3 years to be able to say to Luc Maisonneuve, my good friend, Luc, now I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna follow Higashi Sensei. So I had to leave my one of my best friend, and Luc Maisonneuve really helped me in Kumite because he was still today. If I look at all the people, he was one of the best Kumite guy in Canadian history. So it took me 3 years to decide to follow Higashi Sensei. But during the same 3 year, 87, 88, 89, I was doing Aikido. So I've done Aikido for 2 years with Patrick Auger. Patrick Auger was a student of Minoru Mochizuki in Yosekan Budo. So during that same period, I was practicing with Sensei Auger, and he said to me, "You should try to find the traditional group of Chito-Ryu." So Sensei Kim said the same thing to me and Luc Maisonneuve. He said you should affiliate yourself with Japan. So I met Sensei Kim, I met Sensei Higashi, I participated in a seminar with Mochizuki Sensei. I don't know if you ever heard about Mochizuki Sensei, but he's quite famous. He was a student of Jigoro Kano. Jigoro Kano asked him to go and train with Murie Ueshiba in Aikido, and he practiced with Sugino Sensei in Katori Shinto-ryu. So he was really famous. So I had the chance to train with him. That was the first time I saw something about Budo. But I was competing those days. I was 20, 18, 19, 20 years old. So I decided to follow Higashi Sensei because he's carrying human side. He really put the human at the priority. So 89, I decided to switch from Luc Maisonneuve and the Budo Kukai to Higashi Sensei. But before that, I had the chance to go at a seminar in Montreal. Sensei Chitose was there, the founder, and Higashi Sensei was on the floor. So I was really impressed. But those days I couldn't see the Budo part and the master. I was more towards the competition. But after that, in 89, 90, Higashi Sensei opened my eyes about Budo. So he really helped me understanding that the meaning of I discovered through the year Onori Nikatsu. See, when you practice karate-do, you're not fighting against somebody, you're fighting against yourself to become the best version of yourself, the best human being you could be to help the society. After I quit the competition, my passion was Budo and my hobby was coaching. And in the coaching, we put a lot of time, so I developed a really good competition team. But at the same time, I was searching for the Budo. I became Karate Quebec coach. I became a national coach. I was really involved in coaching, but at the same time, I was developing. I remember one day Sensei Ojel asked me if I wanted to go and become a Uchideshi of Mochizuki Sensei in Shishuoka. But I was afraid to go, so I decided to stay because I had the dojo. So we start with 20 members. We went up to almost 500 members. And right now we are at 230 members. So I'm doing that. I do that full time for the last 30 something year.
Well, and you have great students, Sensei.
So,
I,
so, so I went with Higashi Sensei because I wanted to discover the Budo side, and he became my mentor. And right? He's the most important person in my karate career.
And what is it about him, Sensei? Like, give us some
Okay,
information
I will,
about
I will, I will give you something. First time I met during the summer 87, 88, 89, these 3 years was really important for me because lots of decision happened. I went to a seminar with Toru Yamaguchi, Shotokan guy, JKA, famous. He was over 50 years old that time, I think. He's done a Mawaru Shirogiri, control to the face to somebody. It was amazing. So some people, they decide to switch from what we were doing. They decide to follow Shotokan JKA. I almost went there. The same summer, I went to the Ottawa Chito-Kai and I saw Higashi Sensei sweeping a young kid, teasing him like this at his head, and grabbed the kid and I said, "That's it. I'm gonna follow him because he's a human. He put the human first." So, and Higashi Sensei was the first Canadian champion. He was the first black belt of Tsuruka Sensei. He started karate in 1961, become a black belt in 1962, opened his dojo 62, 63. John Carnio in 1970, the best result ever for Canada at the World Championship. He won the silver medal in Tokyo at the first World Championship. So Higashi Sensei, I learned that after. So his club was a fighting club. But at the age I met him, and through the year, I discovered like a gentleman and a superhuman being, a great leader so I was attracted by that. I needed that. I saw it with Sensei Kim. I saw it with Sensei Munyo Mochizuki Sensei. So I discovered it with Higashi Sensei.
Is that Shane Higashi?
Yes,
Yeah.
Shane Yukio Higashi.
Yeah.
See, Sensei Higashi is a Canadian Japanese, born in BC during the war, 1940. He just turned 85 this year. 1940, he went back to Japan from 6 years old to 16 years old. He came back after and he started karate in 61 with Tsuruka Sensei. So, and he became his first black belt. So Shane Higashi is and Karate Canada, they gave to Tsuruka Sensei his 10 dan, I think in 2009. In 2024, they gave the 10 dan to Higashi Sensei. So Tsuruka Sensei was the first, he's the father of Canadian karate. His first black belt is Shane Higashi. First 10 dan from Karate Canada, the official recognized by government, was Tsuruka Sensei, first 10 dan. Second 10 dan is Shane Higashi. So I'm proud to say that Higashi Sensei is my instructor, but because he teach the Budo part, how to become the best human being you can be. Every time I met Higashi Sensei, when I meet him, he said, "What can we do to make the people happy?" But I talked with some of his first students, and they were saying to me, in 60s, Sensei Higashi was the best fighter. See, Monte Sensei said to me he was the best karateka during those days. But Higashi Sensei through the year become a Hanshi and a master of developing the human being. So I wanted to follow his path, I think.
So, Bisson Sensei, maybe if you don't mind, and feel free to pick and choose on this question. We've all had time with our sensei alone. What was a class like with Higashi Sensei? Did you travel with him to places? Um, Give us some of your strong memories and history of your time with Higashi Sensei. Not that it's over. I know you still have time with him, but
No, no.
it's always nice to hear history through stories and shared memories that
I
you have.
remember when it was time for me to join the association, 89. I said to Higashi Sensei, I will try to forget everything I learned from my first instructor to learn the new style. And he looked at me in the eye and said, "No, I don't want you to erase your past. I want you to share it with us." So I was quite surprised. He said, you like competition, you like fighting, so please help us with that. So he didn't judge me, but at the same time, he said, "You're a Sandan. You're going to be in probation Sandan." So at the summer camp, he put me right in the front. He said, but I didn't know all the kata because what we were doing was more like a mix of Shotokan and Chito-Ryu. And Higashi Sensei, since 1979, he was doing the Japanese curriculum. So that was a little bit different. So I remember that. In 1995, we went to Japan together to train with Soke Sensei. Every morning, we had to do 45 minutes of Seiza, Mokuso. 45 minutes. I don't know, but 45 minutes in Seiza, it's quite long. But Higashi Sensei, every morning he was there for the first week. I was there for 2 weeks and a half. But Higashi Sensei was doing the same thing. And after that, it was the time to do some training. And Soke Sensei was a bit younger those days. So it was a lot of speed training, speed drills. And Higashi Sensei followed everything. So he was on the floor with us, following us. So he's a humble man and he passed it to the people. So he always said, like, you want right now you have a responsibility in the association. What can you do for the members? You are at the service of the members. So it's never about him. Like I said, things about he was a champion. He never talked about that.
Sensei, your admiration, your love for Higashi Sensei shines through. It's absolutely amazing, and I want to return to that. But I would, before we go too far down the road, I want to dig in a little bit to your time with Mochizuki Sensei. So you said you studied Aikido with him. Was it just
No,
Aikido? Were you studying Yosei Kambudo? All the aspects of
no,
Mochizuki
it was
Sensei's system?
I didn't train. I didn't learn from him. I learned it
Mm,
from Sensei Patrick Auger.
mm,
Patrick Auger is a French guy, was doing judo, who went to Shishoka to learn more about judo, but I think he fell in love with Mochizuki Sensei. He
yeah.
became a Uchideshi, so he was the Yosekan Budo representative of Mochizuki Sensei. So I met Mochizuki in a seminar, and I saw him doing a demonstration.
Mm.
I'm telling you, I think he sat for minimum an hour in Seiza and he stood up. He was quite old those days, and he started to do all the ukemi. He was really famous for a sutemiwaza.
Mm.
So he was doing some sutemiwaza. It was like wow, but he
So
was he was older.
when you trained with Oje Sensei, who I've met a few times, when you trained with him, was it just Aikido? There was a point at which he
Yeah,
was
just
doing
Aikido.
all of Yosei Kambudo, right? He had
Not
the
yeah, but
striking and
yeah, him in they do judo, karate, and they do some weapon too. But
mm,
it was just Aikido.
I see.
Yeah, and I loved it. I loved Aikido. So when I went to Japan to visit like this last summer, we went to the Aikikai. I asked them if we can look at the class. So it was a special class for the black belt. It was a 7 dan doing the class. So we sat in Seiza. They didn't say a word. It was just slapping the hand. They changed the technique for an hour. It was wow, amazing.
Love it.
Yeah.
Um, Stays up for 45 minutes. I can relate.
No, but after just right in the middle, they said to me, "You're Canadian. That's okay. You can sat in not in Seiza. It's okay."
Yeah, I can relate to that too because Legacy Sensei and I, the first time I went to Japan, we went to uh, a Japanese tea house, and there was a tea master there, and they allowed us to dress as we wanted, but we had to wear white tabby socks. And after we were in Seiza for about 45 minutes and we were in agony, um, she looked over and said, guests are permitted to sit cross-legged. So then we kind of fell out of Seiza and crossed our legs. Um, and my other nice experience with that is Suino Sensei really likes it, Bisson Sensei, when he grades us to make us sit in Seiza for a long time because he said he enjoys to see the suffering. That's part of our grading is having to suffer. And when I got my san done, he had graded, I don't know, there was like 25 people being graded that day, and we all had to be in a line and Seiza. And me and one of his judoka, Dana Jackson, were the two high ranks way down to the far end. And so we had to sit there. And I remember when I had to get up and go kneel again in front of him to receive my rank before I went, Dana said, "Don't make any expressions. Don't give him the satisfaction of seeing that you're in misery."
Listen, just to be fair, I'm sitting in Cesar the whole time with you.
That's true. Okay, Sensei. So I don't want to move past Higashi Sensei because I know you want to talk about him more. And but I do at some point I do want to move into other parts of your journey, but I don't want to go past Higashi Sensei if there's other things that you want to note for the community to know about him.
I just I like talking about him. I'm sure you can feel it. I like talking about Higashi Sensei. I'm really loyal to him. I think it's important to reckon, and I really appreciate that you having me on the podcast because we need to remember the one who were there before, and we tend in our society we tend to forget that. So you're working at a company for 40 years. When you retire, they kick you out. They don't. So I don't. It's really important to know who was Chiroka Sensei, who is Higashi Sensei, and one day you're gonna talk about Higashi Sensei, and you're gonna talk about with passion about him. We need to do that because if we want to understand who we are, where we're gonna go, it's important to understand where we come from. So that's why I like to talk about Higashi Sensei. I think he deserves it, but he doesn't want to talk about. Like he doesn't want to do podcasts. He doesn't want to do. He's always with us in Chito-Ryu. Like he always said, we are in one big family. See, right now we say Chito-Ryu Ishin. Ishin, one heart, one family. So Higashi Sensei wants to make sure we take care of the Chito-Ryu family. But I think he needs to be known outside of Chito-Ryu.
I think it's very important too, Sensei Bisson. There's no classes where I don't talk to my students about the masters. Um, I encourage them to ask questions and opinions about them. And I'm a big believer in, I'm not sure, in indigenous cultures, they say that people have two deaths.
Mm,
First death is when you die, and your second death is when the last person on earth forgets your name, right? So we want to endeavor to make sure those names are never forgotten and that way they never die. They always live on,
I
in
totally
my
agree
opinion.
with you. Totally agree with you.
Um, So, Sensei, I want to move on a little bit now. We can always come back at any point if you have a thought and you want to come back to it, that's fine.
No
But
problem.
at what point, okay, so you're this strong competitor, you're loving the Kumite side of things. It's funny because your story, you and Sensei Legacy in a room alone you have very similar paths. Because that's why Sensei Legacy went with Richard Kim. He was like, I'm good fighting. Now I need the Budo side. I need the classical side of things. So, I love all that. But at some point now, so you've been a fighter, you're training with Higashi Sensei now, so you're getting the Budo side. What made you decide you wanted to be a teacher? And how did that transpire? Like,
Okay. That's and now I'm going to try to, I have to take in French and try to translate. When I was 16 years old, I said to my first instructor, I'm going to make a living with karate. He almost laughed at me, not in a negative way, but he said, no, but not too many people can do that. So, but my brother-in-law had a business and he said to me, Germain, if you want, you can make it. So at 20 something, I decided I wanted to make a living. So I went to university, I had a degree in administration. Like Bruce Lee was a role model because he was like invincible. I remember Rocky movie. When I was running, I was thinking I was Rocky because Rocky was like if you work hard, like in Japanese they say "Tsutomereba kanarastas." So if you work hard, you're gonna reach your goal. And I really like to think about Walt Disney. So dream big. So I remember when I started, I had 25 students. And I said, one day I'm going to make a living with it. So I start slowly. And then when Lynn, my wife, she arrived in the picture, she was practicing karate with me. So from, let's say 50, 100 members, we went to almost 200 members. So like I said, one time we were like, but my goal was to change the people. I really believe I had a mission to do, and especially with the kids. So I wanted to teach the kids to become the best human being they can be. I wanted them to become young adults who believe in their success and will participate in the evolution of the society. So my sister was calling me an apostle. Uh,
Yep, we understand.
she
Apostate.
was making a joke on me because
Mhm.
I wanted to participate, especially in my region, and through the year it become my mission. So when I say the passion, so I discovered Budo, and I really believe with Budo we can teach them. We can. I really I think those days we need more than ever. People will teach morality, compassion, gratitude, regisao, etiquette, how to behave. When you teach that in a dojo, kids they're gonna act like that outside the dojo. So that's really important, especially in the society we are right now with all the social media, everything. So my mission was to help, say, especially the kids. But I discovered through the year that 70 years old guy or lady who start karate, they need us too. So my mission was that. So I wanted to make a living with it. So since then, I'm teaching. The dojo is open 7 days a week. I'm teaching like almost every day. So it's part of who I am, karate. So I discovered Higashi Sensei. Now I'm doing a lots of Kobujitsu with Inoue Sensei, Kisho Inoue, the son of Motokatsu Inoue. So I'm part of that. So teaching was to help the people. So I think
How
I've
old
got,
were you? How old were you, Sensei, when you started that dojo, the first
I
one?
was 21 years old, 20, sooner 21.
That's
And I had a vision. And when I went to the first world championship, I participated in 1992 at the WUCO World Championship in Spain. When I was on the floor in the stadium, I said to myself, 10,000 people, they were in the stadium. No other circuit of tournament, karate tournament, they had that. See, the same tournament was at the Olympic lately. 10,000 people in Spain screaming like crazy. I said to myself, I'm going to bring my student here. And I looked because I like reading and I read a lot. So I discovered a small place in a university in Japan. Maybe since you all know it, they call it's Tenri University. Tenri. It's a small university, but it produce some of the best athletes at the Olympics, judo athlete. So I said Karate Cama will become like Tenri, a small place, but like Walt Disney, we're gonna dream big. So my goal was, and maybe it was a mistake. Now I'm thinking my ego was really big for that. So I decided to put everything about developing kumite athletes, fighting athletes, fighters. I wanted to develop really good fighters. Kata too, but kata is different. So that was a goal I had, and we went from 1992 to 2018. We participated to all the senior world championship.
Are you still in the same dojo now, Sensei Bisson,
Yeah.
or
At the
same
same place,
location?
same town, but now it's the I got a big place. So my brother-in-law owned the place, so the rent is I find it expensive, but it's quite cheaper than the rest. I'm really lucky to have it.
Okay, so are you're in the same building that you started in when you
No,
first started
when I
teaching?
started, it was in a school. See, it's a small place, like everybody knows everybody. So I had the school keys those days. So I was teaching 3 times a week, and after that, my brother-in-law they had a flea market. And they built a shopping center. He said, "Do you want a place? We're going to build a place for you in the shop, in the malls." So I had the place there, and after that, they built another. So I am in that place now. So it's 60 by 70. It's martial art place. We teach.
I've seen a lot of your videos, Sensei. I've looked at a lot of your social media and watched your training methodologies. Um, which is going to lead me into my next question and something that I really I'd like to hear the other sensei's perspectives on this. We're all classical martial artists. We all come from a classical background. Um, And the question that I have for you is, how do you balance your traditional karate practice that you're training and you're training athletes and with modern training methods? How do you balance those two things?
Okay. First of all, we have a karate dojo. We teach Chito-Ryu karate. People, they needs to do Chito karate minimum twice a week. Let's say the kids, they do twice a week. Plus, let's say they want to participate in tournaments. So I create a subcommittee called Team Kama. So Team Kama, this year we have 230 something members. We got not 30 members in the team committee. Before it was like 70, but now because of the COVID. So, and now we create special class for them, only for fighting. So they're part of the Team Kama. So they participate in committee class and we develop. So some of the athletes, they practice 3, 4 times a week in committee class, plus traditional karate. I remember a couple years ago, 2005, we had one of the best coach in the world, Antonio Oliva Seba from Spain. He came to teach at the dojo. And he said to me, you produce some of the best younger, but if you want them to win at the international level, especially in the adult, they should not do twice a week Chito-Ryu karate. So those days we started to create some special group, and we had, I don't know, 6 or 7 people who won medal at the senior pana. Four girls, they were silver medalists at the senior pana. So traditional karate twice a week, plus we had competition training.
And what does a typical class look like for competition training or in your classical program? What's the difference between those two
Oh, like
classes?
we do in traditional, we do Chito-Ryu curriculum. In the kumite class, through the year, I build this like a way of developing the athlete. It's only kumite. We don't talk about Chito-Ryu in those class. See, we had some of the best athletes in the world at the dojo, like Douglas Bros is 3-time world champion. So we learned from the best how to do a kizami. So we brought the best athlete in the dojo and we learned from them and we participated in the tournament. Since 2019, right before the COVID, during the COVID, I lost all the senior. They stopped especially people doing competition, so they stopped competing. So now we are in a rebuilding phase.
Can I ask, what can you tell us? We have something in common. You had a student who became a world champion, and she got a job in my area. She's been training with me for 15, 18 years. What can you tell us about Patricia Beauregard?
First of all, she was not afraid. She wanted to fight, no matter if it's a man or a woman. She wanted to fight. In the woman category, she was a little bit tougher than the others. So she trained hard. She came from a Shotokan group. She trained hard. I think those days was more. She was training more with the man than with the woman. So she was a tough fighter. She was not afraid. Really intelligent. And I don't know how to say that. Gentleman, but gentlewoman. She was like super nice person outside the ring, but in the ring she was fighting. That I can tell you. But you know that. I'm sure you
I
know.
know that, yes, yeah. Well, she was well trained.
But she's still, I'm sure she's still a very nice person.
Yes.
Great person.
Everybody, they were friends with Patricia. She
Yeah.
was really funny. Like me, my girl, my wife and Patricia, they won the Quebec team together, so they were good friends. She was a really nice person.
He still
Right.
is.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I do want to finish going around the horn on that question, if you'll indulge me. And I want to go to you, Sensei Suino, next because I know you're a proponent. You're one of the most classical martial artists I've ever seen, but you also employ a lot of more traditional training methodologies. And how do you strike that balance, or what is the balance for you in your dojo?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for the most part, in my dojo, I focus on teaching the martial arts, passing on the martial arts I learned from my teacher. But I've been paying attention for the last, getting up there in years, been paying attention to the science of nutrition, of physical fitness, of longevity, of athleticism. And I realized that the classical martial artists had incredible values, which I always want to live to, but that modern science has helped us understand a lot about staying healthy and about being better athletes. So mostly I do it for myself. I have some students that want to do that kind of thing as well. So they join me for our kettlebell workouts, our functional fitness. They have conversations with me about nutrition, about chiropractic, about body work. All of that stuff I think goes into it. And now, of course, if you look at the modern athletes, the modern fighters, my world, the world I know most about is judo. The top 5% of judo athletes are incredible, and a lot of them have a sport judo background. It could just as easily be traditional, but they have a sport judo background and tons of sports science too. So I think that brings you to the top of your game. It also allows you to train longer. It allows you to live a healthier life. And I just think, Randy, you always say how you do anything is how you do everything. And I'm not good at too many things in life, but those 4 or 5 things that I'm really passionate about, I want to know as much about them as I can and and do them as long as I can. So that's my balance. I want to be healthy, strong, and fit as long as I can. And my students that are interested in that, I try to support them and educate them as well.
Thank you, Sensei. And I'm just going to call bullshit on the 3 or 4 things. They're good at everything. Ridiculous.
I'm happy. I'm happy that Sensei just said that because at Team Cama, what we had create for the last 25, 30 years, it was like having a national program to a small dojo.
Oh yeah, I love
So we had, because I became a vice president of Karate Canada. I was involved in coaching, but I was involved in the politics too. But it was really hard to create something at the national level. So I said, that's it. I'm going to do it for my dojo. So we had sports psychologists, we had nutritionists, we had physiotherapists, we had in karate, sports karate, you have to have a lots of explosiveness. So we've done a lots of plyometric. So we had a physical prep. So all these people, they were around the athletes. So the athletes, the only thing they had to do is to train hard, to be sincere in their engagement. And we raised during those days, we raised between 20 and 25,000 a year. So we were able to pay all their fare to them. So they didn't have to care about the money. Sports psychologist was like, we discover nutrition. And right now, they're talking more than ever about the nutrition. Say before sports karate was like the French Federation, they were the one who was the most in shape in the world because they had the Académie Française de Karate, so they were learning how to be in top shape. Japanese, they were like technician, but French, they were like in super shape. So all this we had that for the Team Kama. So we create a national program for a group of, let's say, 20, 25 elite athletes in the dojo.
Amazing. Sensei Legacy, where do you take that question on the balance between classical training, which we primarily do with you, but you do modern things too. Like when you were training me for things, it wasn't all just go there and do your basics and do kata. We did other things as well. So where do you take the balance for you? Where does it stand?
Well, I'm a classical martial artist, um, namely Shorin-ryu, and that's what I teach. If there are other things that people want to do, then I create extra time, extra places for it. Because, when you're teaching a martial art, there is so much that in a lifetime you can't teach it all. There's always something else to learn. So, because we're trying to pass on things from Matsumura to Itosu, all the way down the line to myself, and now from my students on to everybody. So there's a lot of different ideas and knowledge there. But as you know, when you wanted to go for world championships, katas, fighting, we had to spend extra time. So we do that extra time. I'm a classical martial artist. A classical martial arts contains all the answers that you need to be a classical martial artist. So there are, if you want to do extra weight training and different stuff like that, then you have to make extra time for that. I don't have time in the class to do all that stuff. You got what, an hour and a half, sometimes 3 hours for a class, and that's all. Uh, it takes me 3 hours to do a small seminar on fighting. You know that you're always there, right? So that's how I do it. I take care of business first. I take care of Budo first, like Sensei Bisson says, and that's what I am. I'm a classical martial artist, and I'm to teach. That's what I'm trying to teach. If some person needs a little bit extra um, strength training or anything, then we make extra time for that. You know that, right?
Yes, I do. I just want other people to hear it too.
Yeah.
Not
my
for
heart is my heart is like Sensei Bisson. My heart is in Budo, classical Budo.
So in the Kitchener dojo, it's very much the same. Like if you're doing Iaido, you're doing the Iaido curriculum. If you're doing Shorin-ryu, you're doing the Shorin-ryu curriculum. You're passing through that, and that's makes up the majority. But even within that curriculum, there is still some modern things that happen, I think, in all of our dojos that, um, you know, if you're going to be working on your reverse punch, I don't put a makiwara up and make people bare-fisted smash that anymore. Definitely not youth. Definitely, um, they'll have a glove on their hand and they'll be hitting a heavy bag and they'll be hitting it hard and they'll still experience something. But that's kind of more of a modern thing that I've pulled into my training with my students. But I still like the old school stuff. Hitting each other with a bare fist is still a big portion of training in my dojo when I'm training with my students. The other things that I do, I want to go to what you said, Sensei, because the other things that I do um, when I do my CrossFit and my conditioning and these things, that's really about my classical martial arts. Like I don't go in and rip out a bunch of pull-ups and push-ups and run 5K because I'm trying to run a marathon or I want to win a bodybuilding contest. I do it because I want to be able to do martial arts, classical martial arts, for as long as I possibly can do it. And I think those things help me at, 54 years old to be able to continue to execute my techniques at a level that's maybe different than other people who are 54 who don't do other things for their body, health, nutrition, stretching, other physical fitness. So that's where I take it. Yeah. Uh, I want to go. You've talked a lot, Sensei Bisson, about the Higashi Sensei and the human side of martial arts and developing young people. And this is something I really, if we can, if we have time, we're getting long on time. We have to do your 10 questions. So, but um, we all have students that there's been personal transformations that helped us. Like when we saw these students and we worked with them, they developed in a way that actually maybe helped us more than it helped them, even though they got huge benefits from it. And I'm just wondering, um, you don't have to say the names, but it's always nice for people to hear the stories of a student who, Sensei Legacy always says, the odds against making it people are the ones who sometimes make the best martial artists, right? So, do you have any experience or stories for us about students that you had that undergone a huge personal transformation and how it helped you?
Tell you the truth, that's the most. See, when I do the publicity for the dojo, we say we are a dojo teaching Chito-Ryu Karate-do. We have a team Kama sports karate, but we are a school of life. So that's the most important. And right from the start, it was that. I think all the instructors they should look at the karateka first as a human being with his own potential. No comparison between people. So maybe someone's going to take him 10 years. We had a guy who it took that person 17 years to become a shodan. 17. At the same time, we had a girl, she was going for his sandan. The younger was going for his shodan. But Higashi Sensei said to me at the end, wow, the girl, she was a silver medalist at the Pan Am who switched from sports to traditional karate, but she was an elite athlete. An elite athlete, when he go back to the traditional karate and he puts a lot of time in it, will become an elite karateka. She was an elite karateka. So Higashi says, he said to me, during this exam, I saw two things. An elite athletes who went back to traditional karate. Majority of the time we lose them. They stopped after. And we had a young guy, and he had a picture that student, he had a picture of him and Higashi Sensei at 5 years old in a seminar. He was 22 years old, so 17, something like that after, he became a shodan. So the two extreme, and super elite athlete and a guy, like I don't know what Sensei Legacy was calling them, but he had a hard time. He had a special needs. We were so proud at the end that we had both a super elite athlete who became a sandan in karate Chito-Ryu and a guy who took 17 years old to become a shodan. We almost cried, and the way we were presenting it, it was like, wow. So in karate, if you accept to teach human being first, not somebody with potential, when you accept to teach that everybody they can become their best version of themselves, so you're going to help everybody.
Yes.
We're going to help everybody, but you have to respect. See, in our dojo, the maxim is kyozon kyoe, mutual friendship for mutual prosperity. So we're working together towards one goal, helping each other to become the best human being he can. And Higashi Sensei was exactly that type of person. So that's why, and I'm going to say it this way, that's why I fall in love with him. The way he was exactly what I needed, because I really believe in that. And that comes from my family. I come from a family of 8. My mother come from a family of 14. So in Quebec, French people, they had a lot. It was always a big family. So they had to help each other. They had to be there to each other. So the big family, when you respect everybody, everybody's potential, and you help them, I always said that if you help somebody to become a little bit more competent, you will develop confidence. If you develop confidence, you will develop self-esteem. We have one in Canada, we have a passport, and they say it's one of the most safe passport in the world. But we can give a passport for life to the kids. We can give them some self-esteem. But self-esteem comes from to be competent. And in martial arts, when we teach it the right way, with all the rigisao, all the etiquette, all the how to behave in the dojo, teaching kata. Teaching kata is going to put something in their mind, a way of doing. Kata means a way of doing something. So when you teach them how to believe in themselves, they will have success. If they have success, they will develop self-esteem. No matter if he's good or not, he's a world champion or a regional champion or a yellow belt, that doesn't matter. If we look at them as human beings and to develop their potential, that's the true meaning of Budo, I think.
I love that. We're not going to have a chance for others to chime in on this because we're at
Sorry.
9:39. No, that's okay. It's your show. That's okay.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. No, that was great what you said. I loved it. Um, but we do this thing, if you've watched the show, Bisson Sensei, we call it the 10 questions, right? We've changed it, we've evolved it over the last 5 years. Because sometimes when we would do it, um, it would be like 10:45 or 11 o'clock at night, and we're still trying to get through the 10 questions. So what we've done is and I'm not going to say who the senseis were that did that. You can go back and look at it. But um, it doesn't matter to us, Sensei, if you get through all 10 questions or if you want to dig deep on any one of these questions, but we give you 10 minutes to
Oh,
answer the questions,
okay,
right?
no problem.
So, but we want you to answer impulsively, but you can go as deep as you like because it really doesn't matter if we get through all 10. It
I'm going to try my
mostly
best to
matters.
be, I'm going to try to be short.
You don't have to be short. I don't want you to, I'm not trying to coerce you into giving less answers than you want to. So you please feel free to just take this time,
Okay,
but I am going to set a timer and we're going to stop after 10
no,
minutes.
no problem.
Okay. So the first question that we ask is what is the most effective move for you in your martial arts arsenal, Sensei?
Hyakuzuki, good river sponge.
All the karate guys say
Say so.
that.
All right, Sensei, I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you, and feel free to elaborate. Who is the most influential martial artist in your life?
Higashi Sensei.
What a surprise. Okay.
But
Surprise.
if you had say in my life, I would have say my dad and my mom. My
Hmm.
dad's still alive at 99 years old.
Wow.
Amazing. Um, so building on that question that Suino Sensei just, who do you think is the most influential martial artist of all time in history and why?
Jigoro Kano.
Kano Sensei. And
Jigoro
why?
Kano, because he was a genius. He was a genius because he was talking about education. And what nothing is more important in life than education. That's why I really believe school teacher they should be the highest pay in the government because they educate the people. They educate. So karate teacher, sensei, the one was born before, we educate the people. So I think Jikoro Kano.
Great answer. Sensei
Well,
Suino likes it for sure.
I definitely like that one.
He's waiting for it to echo.
Hmm. Indeed. Indeed. Sensei, what excites you the most about the next 5 years of your martial arts training?
I want to participate in the transition because Higashi Sensei put me like in charge or one of the people in charge of the future of Chito-Ryu Higashi Sensei's association, and I would like to be like a bridge between generation. So some like in our association, we have I don't know 10, 15 people who train for Chito-Ryu for more than 50 years now. So I would like to take all that and to transfer that to the younger generation.
Nice. Love that
That's a
answer.
good answer, Sensei. Um, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you get there?
Thank you for helping other people.
Sensei, do you have a favorite film or television martial artist, even if they're not a martial artist in real life?
I was drawn with Bruce Lee and Sylvester Stallone Rocky movie.
Ah,
And
yeah.
I really enjoy watching The Last Samurai. I've seen it maybe 40 times.
That's a
You're
great
the
movie.
first one to give us the Rocky answer.
Hmm.
No, I'm sure I'm not the first. I'm the first one.
On our show, yeah, you're the first one.
Oh, okay.
And I love those shows, so that's great. Um, do you have a martial artist, living or dead, of all time that you wish you could have trained with?
Maybe Jukaro Kano. Because Jukaro Kano had the chance to talk with Pierre de Coubertin, and when they talked about Olympics, they were talking about using sports to educate the people around the world. So Jukaro Kano, as an educator, he create something and it become Budo. Because of him, I think they create the Budo. He took Jiu-Jitsu and he created Judo after. So the Do aspect, the Do was creating a bond between people. So I think right now we need the Do aspect more than ever.
Sensei, I don't want to take up your time, but I don't know if you know about the Kano Chronicles. So there's an online record of Kano's history, and it's maintained by a friend of ours who was on this show, Lance Gatling. I'll be sure to connect you two.
Oh,
I
please.
think you would love to read the writings. It's a great resource.
I
Uh, so Sensei, if you could give everybody in the world the benefit, the greatest benefit that you've gotten from martial arts, what benefit would that be?
self-esteem. That's a passport for life.
Well, I love how you talked about it earlier about confidence and accomplishment and self-esteem. Thank you.
We're doing great here, Sensei. You're rocking through this. You got 5 minutes to answer these last two questions. So
Okay.
you can take your time on these or not if you don't want to, because we got lots of questions to talk to you about. Um, but these next two questions come as a pair. What is your greatest achievement and what is your greatest regret?
Achievement is marrying my wife and I have 3 kids.
That's a
And
great one.
I don't really have any regrets. I think things have arrived not for nothing. So we have to believe in life. So when bad thing happen, it's teach us a lesson to become a better human being, I think.
I love it. Um, Before we move on, anybody have something they want to talk to Sensei about? Because I have lots of questions here, but I just want to open the door or pause in case other people want to get in there. I don't want to hog it all.
No worries. If you've got a question,
I,
go
I'd
ahead.
like to ask, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
No,
Sensei.
go ahead, Sensei.
When in your days when you started martial arts, did you have fighting equipment or was it bare hands?
I was a junior, so we had like safety punch, John Reed safety punch.
Oh yeah.
You remember? Yeah. But what after that, I went to Quebec Federation, and in the competition at the Karate Canada NKA, it was nothing, no safety pad for legs, and only small glove, like maybe Patricia show you this, so really small. So it was quite tough.
Just those little white
Yes.
sponges. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so this is a question we probably could go around the horn on. Um, if you could give one piece of advice, Sensei, to new students or young instructors that are just coming into the dojo, what's the piece of advice that you would give to those new students and new young instructors?
Young instructors, I would say, adhere to the Kaizen philosophy and always have a Shoshin mentality, Shoshin beginner's mind, always. So don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Try to find the right people who can answer. So don't be afraid. To the student, just try to do the first month. Don't try to be a black belt right from the start.
I love it. Suino Sensei, where would you take that? If you were going to give a new student advice coming to the dojo and also a person starting to teach, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, different advice. We do a 2 month initial membership for students, and I always tell them, listen, give yourself permission to be a beginner. Just enjoy the training, let the culture come to you. Don't worry about success or failure. But after 2 months, you'll discover 90% of that stuff is behind you. Then you'll be comfortable in the room. You can focus on your training. That's what I would tell new students, and I do tell them all the time. What I would tell new teachers, boy, that's a tough one. I tell all the leaders in my dojo that our first mission is to help our students love the dojo. And then our follow-up lesson is uh, that true martial arts is an act of service. And if we stay in it long enough, we go from having selfish aims to having unselfish aims. And as an instructor, gosh, Bisson Sensei, it reminds me so much of what you said, Higashi Sensei says. Um, we're there to make sure that we're helping improve the lives of our students.
To you, Sensei Legacy. what would you tell a new student coming in, and what would you tell a new instructor who wants to start?
Don't go choose your dojo and your sensei wisely. Don't just go to the dojo who's closest to you. That's the biggest mistake you can make because there are more not so good dojos as there are good classical uh, dojos. Okay. Do your homework on choosing your place. And then once you've chosen that, you dedicate yourself to that sensei and um, follow them, follow them wisely. Like do what they tell you, because that's what you have to do is commit yourself to the art. It's like this is a bad saying because it's so, but the art is there to change you. You know, you're not there to change it. So you can't take shortcuts. You can't have a sensei who's going to let you get away with stuff. You have to dedicate yourself to the art. The sensei can change. But once you say become a Shorin practitioner and your sensei passes on or dies, then you have to replace somebody in that art that you're dedicated to. Because the art will always outlive your sensei. So it's important that you choose where you go, the proper place.
I love it. I'm going to build on everything that everybody said. It'll sound very similar. So I'm gonna take one of Suino Sensei's lessons. When students come in, I think they need to be told you have to just keep coming. Like you said, Sensei Bisson, like get through your first months, get through your first 6 weeks, get through your first year, get through your first 5 years, get through your first 10 years. Um, and what I tell people these days is, listen, in order for you to be good at anything, you first have to be willing to not be good at it, right? And if you can accept the fact that you're not going to be good at this in the beginning, then you have a chance to be great. If you can get past the first month, the first year, your first 5 years, your first 10 years. So this is a long-term process. It's not a quick thing. That's what I would tell new students. New instructors, I would say, make sure you're still a student. So I would say, don't open a dojo and just think you're a world unto yourself. Make sure you still have a sensei that is helping you and guiding you. Um, Admit your mistakes. When you make a mistake in front of a class or you make a mistake when you're doing something, just look at everybody and say that was a mistake. Don't try and hide it, because the people will see it. If you make a mistake, they'll know. Um, and don't try and reinvent something. You were taught by somebody. Build on the lessons that were taught to you. Don't just throw everything out and do new stuff that you don't make all the changes that you see you want to make. Build on what your teacher taught you. That's what I would tell a new student. Um, so now we are, I think, about 7 minutes from being done. Uh, but we still have some time, Sensei Bisson. So one of the things that I want to ask you as a classical Chito-Ryu practitioner is, I know there are many katas in Chito-Ryu, and I know they're all good. And I know there are many katas in Shorin, and they're all good too. But in your opinion, what is the kata that epitomizes Chito-Ryu? Like the one that is like, that's the kata. You can't be doing Chito-Ryu without that kata. So we're gonna end this show on a more classical question. And why is it that you think that kata is the one?
That's a good question. Now I'm going to put myself in a position. I think Seisan should be really important. That was one of the first kata Sensei learned, Seisan and Sanchin. But I think Seisan it's a very important in the style of Chito-Ryu. We can find a lots of application in it. And I right now in my situation, in my life, I really like to discover the application of the Kion Bunkai and after that Hoyo Bunkai. So Seisan, my favorite kata is Basai, but I think Seisan it's a deep kata. it look like a basic kata, but it's a very important kata.
Yeah, they say that kata is actually one of the oldest ones, and it's the one that is in the most styles, right? It's in Shorin-ryu, Chito-ryu, Goju-ryu, Shotokan. They all have the Seisan kata.
Mhm.
Um,
But maybe through the year I'm gonna change my mind because I'm only 62. So maybe in the future I'm gonna send other kata.
okay. Well, we'll have you back on whenever you would like, Sensei, and
No problem.
we can crack open the kata question. Um, as Sean Benson likes to say, time is real. We want to spend all night with you tonight, Sensei. The time has flown by, like an hour and a half just went by like that. It's been a very enjoyable conversation. The way we end the show is we all kind of say our thoughts about our time with you, things we've learned from you, or ideas that we've picked up. And then the final word is going to go to you, and you're going to get to say what you like to say to end the show. And then we'll kill the feed, and that will be a wrap for tonight. Before we do that, I want to thank Robert Chomsky, Andrei Sedyshev, Justin Shea, Mike Russell, Josh Kishins, Daniel Holland, Christiana Landolt, Emily Ruth Driscoll, Stavros Andridi for always helping us with this show. This show does not happen without these people. I know, Sensei Bisson, you had a conversation with Stavros today. They do all the stuff that we don't want to do, all the marketing, and then we get to just have the reward of having the conversation. Maybe one of these days we're going to have these people on the show
Maybe,
with us and
maybe.
let them tell their stories. Um, but anyway, Sensei Suino, what do you want to say about our time with Sensei Bisson tonight?
What a great conversation. Sensei, I just love the philosophy and your love for your sensei. Um, I feel like the journey of martial arts is one of the most important journeys a human being can take on in life, and it seems like you've done that, and you're passing it on to the next generation. I can't wait to see you. I hope we end up at the same event sometime soon, and I'd love to be on your mat and train with you a little bit.
Me too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Lacey. What do you want to say about from one French guy to another French guy? What do you want to say about our time tonight with Sensei Bisson?
Well, I've sort of known you at a distance, before. Now that we've been through this, I think you and I have walked down a similar path, and that I'm getting to know you a little bit better, and we're going to develop a good friendship, and maybe, and we'll meet at Capital Conquest sometimes, or different places. I really hope that happens.
Me too.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being on our show. And I'm sure that a lot of people have benefited from your experiences,
Thank you
including
very
some of
much.
us.
It's an honor to be with you, Sensei.
Merci. Salut.
Hey.
Well, listen, Sensei Bisson, I always write down tons of notes. I've got like so many books of notes from the different masters who've been on the show, and tonight's no exception. So we learned something tonight. Well, we learned lots of things tonight, but Richard Kim, I like that you pulled something out about your time with him when you said that he said French guys are normally good in kumite. And there's three French guys on this call, and I think we're all pretty good at kumite. And and then there's one Iaido judo guy who's Russian Italian descent. So listen, I also want to say that I wrote it down right away. I really respect the fact that when you decided that you were gonna go with Higashi Sensei, that you went and looked your teacher in the eye that you were with and talked to him about it. And that must have been a very hard thing to do, but I really respect that you did that. Um, that says a lot about your character, being brave enough to do so. Most people, I think, would just drift away and pretend it
Yeah.
never happened, right? So good for you, Sensei, for doing that. Um, 45 minutes to Seiza in Japan. We all we all can relate to that. We all can relate to that. Um, I like all the stuff you talked about with Higashi Sensei, and but what stands out to me is he won't talk about himself. and he's committed to living in service to other people. I think that's a great thing, especially in today's world. I think our world needs that more than ever. Our governments can learn from that. Everything can learn from that. Higashi Sensei is setting a very good example for the world. Um, I'll bet your first instructor is not laughing anymore when he laughed at you when you said you wanted to open a dojo. But she's not laughing now. I like that you said that you're a lifestyle school and you teach the human being first to be the best version of themselves. That's great. So you also mentioned your big family. I just wanted to say I am also Dauphin is a French name, and my mom had 7 brothers and 1 sister, and my dad has 8 brothers and 3 sisters. So I know that type of a community too. Uh, the 10 questions. Most effective technique, reverse punch. Guess what I said? Reverse punch. Guess what Sensei Legacy said? Reverse punch. Guess what Sensei Copeland said? Reverse punch. Like we all, I think uh, Sensei Beauregard's on this call. I think she said reverse punch too when she was on the show. Um, Obviously, you think Higashi Sensei is the most influential, and I don't in your life, and I don't disagree with that. All-time Kano Sensei. Many people have said that. I don't necessarily disagree with that either. Um, I like your goal for the next 5 years is right, helping with the transition of your association and making sure that you're a bridge between the new and the old. I think that's a very important thing to do. Um, Again, you said Bruce Lee, Rocky, like Rocky's a new one. I like that one. That's a good one. Um, and that you would like to train with Kano Sensei. Um, Greatest achievement, your wife and kids. They'll be really happy to hear that. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Sensei. Um, I think the first time I ever talked to you is when you were inducted into the Canadian Black Belt Hall of Fame, and it was really nice to talk to you. Uh, since Lacey and I saw you most recently in Montreal, you're very warm and gracious, came up, wanted a picture with us, and talked with us. Thank you so much, and agreed to come on the show tonight. It's really important that you came um, on your bridge, right? Like that bridge. It's really important that you came on because there's future generations that are going to see this when none of us are here, and they're going to learn a lot from this conversation tonight. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. I was a little bit nervous because when I went to the website, I saw lots of big names. So and I'm French, so it's not my language, but people they say to me my English is not that bad.
Wonderful.
But before leaving, I would like to say that I've said that before. The society now need more than ever the Budo side. I think we are one big family. The human being around the world, we are one big family. Martial artists, I'm when I talk about sports, I love sports. I love winning and I hate losing. That's all true. But the most important thing is to make sure we're going to educate the next generation. See, the most important things about martial arts, I think, is we educate the people. We teach morality. We teach them to believe in themselves, to become the best. So I really believe now than ever, we need to stick together. Forget about my dojo is better than dojo, martial arts is better than that martial arts. It's one, we are one big family, and the goal should be to help the next generation to become the next leader and hopefully to have a better world hopefully. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, everybody.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
everybody.
Salut.
Have a great night.